It's morphin' time.
Sorry, I keep doing that.
Dino Fury key.
I was just testing your reflexes.
We'll be back after we clean up the stage with our salute to Boneheads on America's funniest home videos.
Dino Fury! Go, go, Power Rangers! Dino Fury! Go, go, Power Rangers!
Hello and welcome to KamenRider Blackman, and today we'll be discussing episode 2 of Power Rangers Dino Fury, Sporix Unleashed. I'm going to talk about the plot of the episode now, so I can talk about the interesting aspects of it at the very end. So, the whole point of the episode is that everyone decides to warn the public about Sporix, and that happens one way or another when a video comes out of a Sporix growing into its monster form. And its monster form just so happens to be Creon's counterpart named Mucus. And so, along with warning the public, Ollie comes up with a good idea to track down Sporix by combining an energy scanner that Void Knight just left behind and his mom's drone scanner. And the Rangers canned the idea for cautious reasons. That'll come to play a little bit later in the episode. But I personally think it's a good idea because they're being proactive either way by warning people about Sporix as well as catching them at the same time too. But the Rangers shelved the idea because they have no idea what human and alien technology will do together. And along with that, they're talking about using an invention of his mom's. So they also wouldn't want to put anyone outside of what they're doing in harm's way. And that actually does come into fruition when Void Knight and the Monster of the Week actually stop and catch Ollie's mom, and they threaten her to actually work her drone to track down Sporix. And after that happens, Ollie changes his tune about the plan, not wanting to put his mom in danger. But even before the Rangers went to go save Ollie's mom, they have a little conflict about Ollie going to do his idea anyway after they said no. It's not long, but they literally take a moment to say, why did you do that after we just said no for legitimate reasons? And both sides defended themselves with reasons to support their claims. And I kind of liked seeing that because you feel like if you're watching something like, say, Ninja Steel and they have like a small argument about something, it doesn't feel like they have a problem with it. It just feels like they're taking a step back, like they're not entirely upset or anything. But in this case, Zato kind of has his foot down, like, why did you do this after we just discussed it and said no? I like seeing that because it's realistic. And so, either way, they stop Void Knight, so Ollie's mom's not hurt, but the scanner and the droid is destroyed. And of course, there is the monster fight, which I'll talk about more at the end too. But either way, the Rangers get their message out there with Zato as the Red Ranger being in a commercial, like literally in suit with a cell phone in his hand saying, if you find a Sporix, call or text this number, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like it's so, something about that just feels so surreal about seeing literally a Red Power Ranger on TV, like in a commercial for warning people about monsters. Then I have to remember, this isn't the first time that the Power Rangers have been on TV. So just something about that just feels silly to me. Okay, so now for the interesting details. And I'm going to go down to the last one I have just because it still goes back to the plot. After the giant Sporix is defeated, when giant Sporix are defeated, they aren't destroyed. They instead go back to that larva form, and they apparently are more powerful than ever now after the Megazord fight. And so after that, the Rangers go to catch it, but instead Void Knight steals it back. My personal theory is that after that Megazord fight, that Sporix or any other Sporix could grow stronger and come back as, well, a general for Void Knight, which sounds very interesting and does make sense, actually. When, like, if you have an opponent, like, have the words now, like, after you fight an opponent, it could come back much more stronger because of the energy it's now received from the blows and whatnot. So that's just a interesting idea, in my opinion. And now for the other fun stuff. I have this all listed on my phone, and the first thing for fun details is that the Rangers practice their morphing choreography. Like, first episode, they practice their morphing choreography, and they try to get in sync and everything. It makes me think that a 27-year question has just been answered. Do the Rangers practice their choreography? And they do. Wow. The morphing sequence is also not so bad. It has a real space vibe to it, which I like. Like stars all around them, glowing onto them, then poof, the suits, then the helmets. And I also want to talk about the morphing call too. Link to morphing grid. Or word for word, it's morphing time. Dino Fury key activate. Link to morphing grid. Link to morphing grid. It's not a bad morphing call. I just think that the Dino Fury key part is unnecessary. Like, you don't need to mention what you're using to power up the device for when you're morphing. Like, the only time that's ever worked is Dino Charge, and that's because the gun talked too, and it added on to the morphing sequence. But you don't need to do that for this. It worked once, you don't have to do it again. But yeah, Link to morphing grid. That's a nice nod to the fact that the morphing masters are the ones who literally create their powers. So small reference to that. So nice. And what else? Also in the episode, they gave a little insight on the black, gold, and green powers. And the fact that they're wondering if they could recruit more Rangers. And Zato says that the black, gold, and green keys were destroyed along with their users. So so it's just them. My personal theory for when black and green are introduced are that the Dino Sabers end up choosing them to become Rangers. Because think about it from the first episode, the blue and pink Dino Sabers chose Amelia and Ollie and gave them their morphers. I personally think that the spirits of the previous Rangers are in the swords, so they would be the ones to choose who would become their successors and give them the keys and the morphers and everything. That's just my personal theory, though. And another thing, they brought back teleporting. Just honest to God surprise, they brought back teleporting. Like, and mind you, they brought back teleporting for Megaforce, but that was only seen in one episode. And they brought back teleporting. It's a legit staple of their show for them to get to the base and get around. It's lit. And also, this is just another thing that's apparently part of the episode as well. Apparently, at Buzz Blast, the boss or something, Amelia's boss, got a robot assistant, and it came from a company called Hartford Robotics. And so it's a fan theory out there right now, not mine, that Andrew Hartford, the mentor of the Operation Overdrive team, well, had created a company where people have robot servants. So, interesting. Also, I need to think about that picture of the robot too, because if it had something in its ear or nothing, or because for a second I thought it looked like a Humagear. Oh, now, last thing I'm going to talk about is when the monsters grow, apparently for this season. Apparently for Sporix, we know already from the first episode. First there's the larva form, then there's the monster form, and then they grow bigger. The fact that, let's talk about one show that I have reviewed a while back last year, Toei Spider-Man. In that show, the monsters of the week grew on their own. But the reason why I didn't like it there is because it was something that they could just do on their own, just like that. And if that was the case, the episode could have just been over quicker, because if the monster is out causing trouble, it could just decide whenever they want to, grow big, then Leopardon could just come in, kill the monster, end the episode there. But in this case, Sporix grow and evolve more. It's more unpredictable. So it's not like it's by the monster's own will. It's just uncontrollably growing a lot more powerful. So there's a much more sense of action and a rush to wanting to beat the monsters much quicker. And I think that complements how the monsters grew in Ryu Soldier. Though it was a bit differently, though, because in Ryu Soldier, the Minosaurs were absorbing energy from their host, and the more powerful they get, the more they grow, and then their host might die. But in this case, Sporix are growing uncontrollably, so they'll get to grow whether they have a choice or not. And so there's a more sense of danger there. Maybe that's what I was looking for. But overall, this wasn't a bad episode. I liked it because it felt realistic too, having that small back and forth. But action was good. Everything, it was pretty, entertaining for the most part. If I was to give this episode anything, I'd say, I don't know, 8 or 9 out of 10. It's not bad. Pretty good. And so, with that said, I'm going to get ready to edit this and hope it will be good. Because I know I wanted to put this out on yesterday, but I don't know why. I just wasn't feeling it yesterday. But with that said, thank you guys for watching. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, share this video, tell your friends about KamenRider Blackman. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.